Welcome, everyone. I'm Sue Barber, author, former IT director for a Fortune 500 company, turned executive coach, and this is the Visibility Factor podcast, where we explore how to raise your visibility and play bigger at work and in life. We'll explore key topics and welcome guests that help you shift your thinking about yourself so you can see new possibilities for your leadership. I'm on a mission to create a visibility movement for leaders to show their value and be seen for their true talent. Are you ready to take the next step towards a higher level of visibility for yourself? Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Visibility Factor podcast. This is Sue Barber, your host. I am so excited today to talk to my guest, Monica Lebron, who is part of the book workshop, along with many others that I know that you've been introduced to. But she has a really unique experience and story that I think is so important for you to hear. And she is also becoming an author at some point in the near future. So we want to talk about that too. Welcome to the show, Monica, and I'd love to have you introduce yourself.
Thank you, Sue. Thanks for having me. My name is Monica Lebron. I grew up in San Jose, California, currently living in Knoxville, Tennessee. I've been chasing my career and chasing the upward trajectory like so many others, and it has brought me to 9 states. So Tennessee is the 9th state that I've lived in, working my way up throughout college athletics and have enjoyed every second of it. But I'm so excited to be here with you today.
I think we have to dive into where you started there.
Right.
So share a little bit about your experience and how you were inspired to start working in that space.
Sure. And I'll start with, I didn't know what an AD was either. AD stands for athletic director, but I was recruited to play softball in college, and I was recruited out of San Jose. And I attended Yale University, and I was on financial aid. And that the summer before my freshman year, my coach calls me up and says, "Hey, you need an on-campus job for your financial aid package. Would you want to work for the admin assistant of the AD?" And I said, "Sure, I don't know what an AD does, but sign me up." And so I show up first day freshman year, and she puts me to work doing odd jobs. But by semester's end, I sat our AD down, Mr. Beckett, which I still call him 30 years later. I sat Mr. Beckett down and I said, "How do I become you? You have the best job in the world. You get paid to ensure I have the best experience possible, along with my teammates and all the other student athletes." So think of an AD almost like the CEO of the company, and the company being the athletic department. So I determined that first semester freshman year in the fall of 1997, and I began my now 29-year journey to try and reach that chair. And it's been an amazing ride.
Oh, what are some of the things that, if someone else is interested in doing that, what would you tell them?
You know, if they're young, if they're 18 to 22 and they're on a college campus and they think they attend the games and they seem really fun and they see people, whether it's the football game, and they see people on the sideline and they see people with headsets and they see people running around, I'm here to tell you it's an actual career. I had no idea. I really didn't until I watched Mr. Beckett doing it firsthand. And so then it was then that I realized, okay, I need to learn more about this actual profession, because people really don't share that you can work in athletics, especially college athletics. It's just not something they think about. It is so much fun as I reflect on my career. You know, it always kept me young and fresh and informed, because you're constantly on a college campus. And that's not the only avenue to work in sports. There's pro sports, there's private sector, there's adjacent vendors that still allow you to get that sports aspect. Certainly, if you are an 18 to 22-year-old on a college campus, we'll look into the athletic department, meet with them, do an informational interview, and maybe start volunteering and see if that's what you want to do.
Great advice. I would love for you to just do a quick overview of what schools you have been at, because these are not small schools. So I think it would just help people have a sense of where you've been.
Yes, all across the map, all across the board. So obviously I started working at Yale. And again, I remind people, yes, I was a student athlete. So all 4 years I played softball. I was the captain my senior year. I also attended class. So I was a student. I was an athlete. but I was also beginning my professional career. And again, I consider myself lucky that it fell into my lap at 18 years old, because then I could use all 4 years to start my career. So I worked all 4 years in athletics at Yale. I did 2 summer internships from the advice of Mr. Beckett. He said, "Hey, instead of going home and just finding an odd job in San Jose, you could do summer internships in athletic departments." And I said, "Okay." And so I started inquiring about that. My sister at the time, 2 years older than me, was the manager of the softball team at Michigan. So I thought, man, that would be really cool if I could intern at Michigan, live with my cooler older sister, and hang out for the summer in Ann Arbor. That would be a great experience and it would be fun. And so I did that. I interned at Michigan and then interned at the University of Washington in Seattle the summer after my junior year. And I also remind, especially young people, that may sound like a sacrifice. Oh, I'm giving up my whole summer, but I had so much fun. And I think that's when I reflect on my career, it's never felt like a job. So I graduate and then I go on to attend Ohio University to get my MBA and a master's in sports administration. So again, put more of an emphasis on my degree in sports. Worked in the athletic department both years in development and fundraising. Had to do a summer internship. So I did get to go home, but I interned at Stanford in the athletic department, which was about 20 minutes from where I grew up. So I got to be home, live rent free, and intern down the road at Stanford. Then I graduated. And then, so now I'll rattle them off. I interned at the NCAA for a year in governance. And then I worked at the University of Florida, Cal, UC Berkeley, Ole Miss, University of Georgia, Tulane University in New Orleans, and most recently, the University of Tennessee.
You're right about going across the country. That's for sure.
I was collecting area codes with
bet.
Let's just say that.
But I'm sure you made a lot of friends along the way and a lot of things that you learned. I can hear in the way that you talk about this, the thread of fun, I'll say the joy that you really feel about college athletics, the things that you had as a student. And then, moving into those areas of leadership, I think just helped you just reinforce that for yourself. That's how it feels when you talk about it. Is that how you really feel?
Oh, no question. I've given my whole heart and soul to college athletics and to our student athletes and to the brand. I gave everything I had. And it's been an amazing ride and an amazing journey. I've gotten to live in so many different parts of the country. I've gotten to collect so many friends along the way. So yeah, it's been a joy. It truly has.
That's really cool. Well, I think a lot of people would be envious of being able to do that and do something that you love. So let's talk about what your decision was after leaving Knoxville.
Yeah, so a little over 2 years ago, I went on a sabbatical. I had never taken a break in my career. I went 27 straight years. And if you have ever worked in college athletics, there just isn't much downtime. Everything is dire. And so you're attending every game, you're working nights, you're working weekends, and you get a quick vacation in July, and then the hamster wheel starts again. And when you're so passionate about what you do and when you're enjoying it, it it doesn't feel like a job. Now, that doesn't mean it's healthy. And I'll talk about the last 2 years of my life and the sabbatical and the reflection that I've been able to have on my entire career and the perspective that this has given me being off the hamster wheel. Again, when you're in it and you love it, you don't recognize that anything is unhealthy. You keep forging ahead. But this memoir that I'm writing, it's a lot about the last 2 years of my life and the sabbatical, certainly the lessons it has taught me and the lessons that I hope to share with the reader. The last 2 years have been amazing. They've felt like this gift of time that I've allowed myself to have. And we'll probably get into how type A I am. So for you type A listeners, you know that this isn't normal for us to just be hanging out, but it truly has been a gift.
I mean, I'm sure you've never known another way, honestly, right? And so I'm just curious. Now you're on sabbatical officially. What was that like?
Yes, again, for you type A listeners, I have lots of tips and tricks for you. As the sabbatical was approaching, and I had about a month to really almost psych myself up for it, I had to share with people who know me best. I had to tell them, please force me to have fun. It sounds crazy for you listeners who like to have fun, and that's easy for you. You're gonna think, is this lady crazy? Like, why is that hard? But again, when you're this workaholic that puts work first, second, third, and fourth, you have to convince yourself to say yes to the outside world, to travel, to visit family, to spend time with friends. It's not that I didn't have fun in my local community. I love a great dinner out. I love social gatherings. But the thought of, hey, why don't you take that trip to Italy that you've been planning for years? Or why don't you go visit your college roommate who lives clear across the country in Portland and your work schedule doesn't allow you to make time for that? I had to share with the people closest to me, please hold me accountable to have fun and to utilize however much time this sabbatical is going to last. I need to utilize the time wisely and almost make up for lost times and say yes to that event and say yes to that trip and say yes to those friends. And so when day one hit, I had the right mindset and I really approached it with a joy that, again, I wouldn't say the 27 years prior were not joyful. They were, but this was gonna be a different sense of joy. And now 2 years later, I don't regret it for 1 second. I have approached new goals and new dreams that I didn't make time for because I had the dream of being an AD. So it's not like I wasn't chasing other dreams, but I always wanted to write a book. Well, when was I going to find the time? And
Mm.
so, the sabbatical has unlocked this writer in me that now I have the rough draft of 4 books. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, and we'll get into that, but it truly has been this gift of time and I'm enjoying every second of it.
Really cool. I'm just thinking about you were in positions, right, where you were in the spotlight also quite a bit. And now you've gone from a big spotlight to maybe a quieter one. How does that feel?
I talk about it in the book. One of the things that I did, especially in that first year of sabbatical, I made sure to stay relevant in college athletics because at the end of the day, I do want to work again. And not only do I want to, I have to. I'm too young to retire. I don't have some, trust fund waiting for me. So at some point the money runs out. And so I will have to work again. But I promised myself that I would be selective in the next opportunity I chose. And that's why 2 years later, I still haven't truly selected the one spot that I'm going to. I've had offers, I've had opportunities, I've had invitations. And because I didn't think they were the right fit, I turned them down. Now there's other opportunities that I've approached and I've pursued. I wasn't the right fit for them. So you're looking for this perfect marriage and they see me as adding value to their team. And how do we find that perfect fit? We can get into what perfect fit means. When you're type A, you use the word perfect way too loosely when it really doesn't exist. And I was happy that I was gifting myself the time and the patience to be selective. And when I would share that with industry peers and colleagues, watching their face light up, because remember, they're on the other side, still on the hamster wheel. And so
Right.
it's almost like, wow, it's like a longing, like, that sounds amazing. It would fuel my fire and remind me you're doing it right. You're
Mhm.
putting yourself first and you're looking for that right fit so that you can be your best self in the next opportunity. I have so many friends in the industry throughout the country that even just in driving distance, I can be on the sideline at a game at Ole Miss, or heck, I can get on a plane and go to the Ohio State at Oregon football game. I had never been to Autzen stadiums. I made sure, and I continue even in the second year. I've been consulting for a company called AD Vantage, where it's a software company trying to break into the college space, and so I'm helping them open doors. I'm helping them break into this space, and it's so fun to use my an older term Rolodex or my phone contacts. But all I have to do is scroll through my contacts, send a quick text to any and all of my friends in the industry saying, "Hey, would you like to learn about this new software that could help you be more efficient?" So I've made sure to keep any and all doors open, again, looking for that right fit, that right opportunity. I'm starting to feel like maybe my calling is executive coaching, which I would love to continue to explore, because I love pouring into other people.
Well, I think you've been doing it your whole life, right? Whether that's students or teammates or, just the things that you've been doing. So which of those would really make you want to get up in the mornings?
I have answered this question many times in this way. I'll know it when it hits me. Like you said, for most of my career and even further, for most of my life, I have naturally coached. I don't ever want to leave someone behind. If it's a teammate from junior high or high school or college, if it was someone on my team when we were at Cal working in fundraising, if it was a student athlete, if it was a young professional wanting help on advancing their career or determining an issue that they're dealing with or how to approach a donor, I took every call, every email, every text. I stopped what I was doing. I made time for them because it's what I've always been called to do in life is coach, teach, mentor. I love motivational speaking. And so now in these 2 years on this sabbatical, I've still continued to do that with people in the industry who need my help. I take every call, every email, every text, and I make time for them if they're in a job transition, if they're looking to take the next step in their career. And I stop what I'm doing and I help them. And as I watch other coaches just like you turn it into a career, turn your calling into a career, I thought, gosh, I need to figure out how to do this because a lot of things will get me out of bed because I have a lot of energy and I like to share it with the world. The last 2 years have provided me this memoir, which I think could help pour into other people, this executive coaching, which I think could help pour into other people, maybe going into departments, athletics or other. Heck, I think I could go into Google and help them build a team because I know what team means. That's another one of the books that I've written a rough draft for is creating that positive corporate culture, which always positively impacts the bottom line, but or motivational speaking. And I do think all of those, if we reflect, if we get back together in a year or two and we're reflecting on this conversation, I hope I'm saying, wow, Sue, I made it. I did it. Thank you. Thank you for being the impetus and helping me launch what I was always called to do.
Yeah. I'll just plant one seed here. I know we're not in a coaching session at all, but I think you might see it as an or, like you have to choose or one of these things between them. And I think it could be an and because I know many professional organizations in sports have coaches and pay them to do that. So if that's something that's interesting, just an idea. I've always thought, if the Chicago Bears ever wanted someone, I'm available. I'm nearby. I would love to go have conversations because, I haven't been in the world of sports, but sometimes that's okay, right? Because I'm looking at it from a different perspective. So you going into Google is the same, right? Where you have come from different industries, but it's all about the same culture, team, helping people grow as leaders. So I can't wait to see what's next for you. Honestly, I'm so excited. And I think you definitely have a calling as a speaker for sure. No problem. The energy you bring would be much welcomed in many conferences or stages, wherever you may want to go. So, what made you choose to do a memoir versus doing a book that's more, here are my lessons in leadership or something like that?
I'll tell the story it was August of 2024. So I was about 7 months into the sabbatical, and I was waiting on an opportunity, a job opportunity where they were recruiting me. They weren't moving fast enough. So if you get to know me, you'll also know that I move at warp speed. I want things yesterday. I lack patience. So again, that's something you should know about me, because as I'm talking about being patient for the right opportunity, it's like, who is this girl? Like, she's not patient. Like, what? So I'm proud of myself and the last 2 years of who I've been and who I've become or am becoming. And so I found myself, because I want and I will myself to exist in a positive state all all the time, like almost all the time. And even if something gets me down, I just don't let it last very long. I found myself getting really frustrated with their slower pace. And so I thought, okay, you're getting off your path. And it was right around the time of the Summer Olympics. So I said, okay, you will watch the Summer Olympics for the rest of the week. It'll be over. And then come Monday, you're going to sit at your dining room table and you're going to start writing your life. Just start writing. And I gave myself a task. While I was waiting for them to respond, I needed a distraction. And so why not create a goal that I've always wanted to accomplish, although I never had ever said memoir. I was going to write the corporate culture book, which I have done now, the rough draft. And I was going to write a book on how to move geographically as an adult, which I've also now have the rough draft because I have the experience. But I said, I know my life. It's all right here. I know it. I lived it. And so I sat down and I just started writing, and I didn't know anything about memoir writing. So turns out that 11 business days later, I had 60,000 words, and I had an autobiography, essentially. Like, I had my chronological life, and I knew there was something there. It's funny. My mom had always said, "You're such a good writer." And I'm like, "You're my mom. Like, you're supposed to say that." But, I heard her. I heard her over and over again as I was writing. And I am a storyteller. I love storytelling, and I love teaching and coaching and mentoring by telling stories, real life stories. And so I wrote my autobiography, but I didn't know what to do with that. Like, I don't know how to get published. I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to developmentally edit. And so I thought I wanted it to be like this magical moment where, oh, someone just discovers me and it was so easy. And my first draft was the best draft. And obviously, you've written and published a book. You know that's not the case.
Right.
But I had hoped. And so time went on. Time went on. That job came and went. A couple other jobs came and went. A couple other books, rough drafts were written. Fast forward to August of 25 is when I decided I was going to let go of what I call the death grip on job pursuit. Because you know what? I had done it for a year my way, and my way wasn't producing what I wanted. And so my lovely mother, who is the greatest, she had said, you know what? If you want to take your 46-year-old gap year, you can sell your house and just come stay with me while you figure out the book, or, just while you create a new environment for yourself. And so I was going to, at my age, I was going to get to live rent free with my mom. And so I thought, okay, I'll do that. And then you stop and think, okay, I haven't lived with my beautiful mother since I was 18 years old. And I'm I'm now 46. So, I don't love her, but I don't know if that's best for her or for me. And so it changed my mindset almost within like a week of thinking that was going to be the path. Then I thought, okay, I need to now find a job that I make the dream job so that I can pay my bills so that I can write my book. And
Mhm.
it completely changed the lens by which I was looking at work. And that's when, when you let go of your mindset and you let go of the tunnel vision, all of a sudden you gain clarity.
Yep,
And that's when I found AJ Harper, who you know very well,
I do.
who has changed my life. I would guess she changed yours as well. AJ's name was brought to my attention, and that's when I joined Fall Workshop. And hopefully the rest is history. I'm not published yet, but I'm confident I'm gonna get there. And then it was through Workshop that she has taught me what memoir really is. And so now it's almost like I have autobiography 1.0 and memoir 2.0, and now I have to figure out how they meld together. And I will. And with AJ's help, I'm going to get there, and I'm working on it every day. And but that's ultimately, it almost feels like, yeah, it's memoir, but it's a bit of a teaching memoir where I am teaching people that, look, if you've woken up and you're in a job transition, let me help you by telling you my story,
Mhm.
because one, you're not alone. Two, you are the common denominator, good and bad. You are the common denominator in your life, and the strength lives within you. You have it in you to forge ahead. I'm here to hold your hand. As my reader, I will hold your hand every step of the way, but you've got this. And that's what I hope, as the reader goes through the journey with me, that they realize, wow, like I can do this. And at a time right now when, you know, employment job transition is running rampant, people are looking for help and guidance, and just that community, so they don't feel alone.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, she has definitely changed my life. So I was in her very first workshop. So way
Oh,
back when, I think one of the gifts that she doesn't realize maybe that she has, I don't know if she'll listen to this, but I think is that she inspires people to become authors and writers for the rest of their lives.
mhm.
And that was definitely not my intent. And now after my second one, I'm ready for the third one. So, it's just a part of us now because I think we've seen so many great people come through the workshop and what they've accomplished. And we want to do that too and keep inspiring more people. I do write every morning. It's just now become part of who I am. So, I love that for you. I'm so excited for you. And kudos to you. Writing 60,000 words in 11 days is no joke. I mean, that is no joke for anyone who's written even a page. You know that it's not as simple as it sounds.
I do. I've fallen in love with writing. I really
Yeah.
have. And once I sit down, it flows out of me. It's the editing part that it doesn't come easy for me. And
Yeah.
so I've had to find the patience with myself to and remind myself, like, this, you don't have the muscle memory yet. You haven't been trained in this space. You're gonna get there. And so I'm a tough coach, tough critic on myself. And I
Hmm.
need to give myself some grace.
Yeah. I actually enjoy editing a whole lot more than I ever thought I would. And one of the things that she told us, and I'm sure she told you in the class too, is, your editors will catch you. And I
Mhm.
didn't understand what that meant until I went through the first draft of the visibility factor. And when it came back from my copy editor, I was shocked that it was the same book. Honestly, it was all my words, right? She just moved some things around or took some things out that were unnecessary. And it was just amazing. And then the second copy edit got even better. So I really have learned to let go of the perfection side of that and do my very best
Mhm.
to get as much editing done as I can do with my skills. But there are people who they have their own gift, and I want them to be able to do the magic
Yeah.
themselves. So I think that will happen for you too, and you'll be shocked when you get it back. So, what was the biggest challenge that you faced in athletic administration?
There's going to be challenges in every profession. And again, as the common denominator, I get to decide how I approach it. I will say one thing that my mom has tried to share with me since I was very young is you attract more bees with honey than vinegar.
Mm.
And so when my personality is such that when I feel there's an injustice or I feel like someone's being mistreated or I feel like there's a lack of equality, it's instinctive to want to fight and want to protect and want to stand up for and want to make it my problem, even if it doesn't fall under my purview. And so what as I've grown older, and I've become more of a leader, and I've gathered more responsibility, I've tried to remember that delivery matters. And so even if you're 100% right in the fight that you're about to have or the rescue that you're about to try and make, if if the receivers can't hear you because of your delivery, it will fall on deaf ears and therefore you will not accomplish your goal anyway. And
Mhm.
so what I've tried to learn, and I'm a work in progress and I hope to continue to get better at it, is that I need to also focus on my delivery so that it can be received in such a way that we still accomplish the goal.
Yeah, great advice. So let's go out 5 years from now and you look back. What do you hope will be true for you?
I hope that I've been able to help so many more people, tens of thousands of people, get where they're trying to go. That I was put on this earth to help others get where they're trying to go, help them accomplish their goal, help them create a path, help them achieve. And I feel like I've been doing it, like I said, my whole life, certainly my whole career. And I hope in 5 years from now that I look back and think, wow, I was able to create this path and turn it into a profession where, again, just like college athletics, not one day has felt like a job because I'm making a difference in people's lives and I'm helping hold their hand and get them where they're trying to go. It's pouring into someone else's cup that fills my cup. So I hope that we're talking about that in 5 years.
Okay, well, we'll have to put the date on the calendar and check in at that point
Yeah. Yeah.
and see where you are. I have no doubt you'll get there. Okay, so we're going to transition into the 4 questions that I ask every guest. The first one is, what do you think visibility is, and why did you answer that way?
Visibility for me is impact. And what I mean by that is, what impact do you have on the people around you? Whether, if you've left the room, are they still feeling that impact? Because even when you're not in the room, that means you're still visible because they're
Yeah.
feeling your strength, they're feeling your support, they're feeling your guidance, they're feeling your servant leadership, and so I hope that that I'm making an impact on the lives around me, and again helping them get where they're trying to go. So to me, visibility is impact.
Love that answer. What are you doing to be visible?
Serving, hopefully serving others, pouring into others, taking every phone call, making time for people, showing up, speaking when I'm asked, and again, teaching when I'm asked. I can't remember a time that I said no. And so I want to keep being that person and serving others in that way. And so hopefully I don't see a world where I'm not, but I I hope to continue to be visible in that way.
Love it. What is the best leadership or career advice you've received?
I'll go back to my mom's, and it was teaching at such a young age that you attract more bees with honey than vinegar. It's such a simple way to live. But we've all provided the honey and we've all provided the vinegar. So,
Yes.
in a moment where you have a chance to control how you're going to react to something, are you going to take the extra second to provide that honey, and to make sure your delivery is is presented in a way where people can hear you, because that's true leadership.
Mm.
And so I will forever carry that advice, and I hope I continue to make my mom proud. But and I'm always going to be a work in progress. I always want to be growing and getting better, and so I still have to work on it, but and I will.
Yeah, I think that's part of the fun, though, is growing and developing yourself as well.
Yeah.
What is a book you would recommend to the audience?
Another workshop teammate recommended Will Packer's Who Better Than You? And I listened to it. I love Audible and I love using Audible while I'm working out. So killing two birds with one stone. And what was great about this Audible book was he read it and he's super animated and he's hilarious and his voice just delivers in a way that no one else could have. It's his story and his journey, but it's so positive and optimistic and it's who I am and I don't want to change that as I've been listening and reading more memoirs because I'm trying to write my own and I don't want to change my optimism. I want to infuse that in people. And I get that not everyone's like me. So I have to recognize that not everyone can meet me exactly where I am. And I have to think of that reader as I'm writing my own memoir. But his book to me was proof that you don't have to change who you are or dull it down in order for the reader to still receive. And so that was a confidence builder for me as I was listening to that. So Julie Bach recommended that for me, and I'm so grateful she did.
Nice. Okay. Well, I will put the link in the show notes so everybody can check it out. I have not heard of that. So I'm actually going to add it to my list as well. All right. So if anybody would like to reach out to you and have a conversation about what you're doing, about your future memoir or your other books, or working with you, let's just put your information out there. Well, where would you like them to reach out to you?
Sure. Well, you can certainly find me on LinkedIn. I think I'm easy to find, Monica Lebron, but also my email address, Monica M. Lebron at gmail.com. And at almost 47 years old, I have joined TikTok. I have listened to AJ and the rest of our writing community to say, hey, you need to share your experience with the world. You need to share your leadership with the world. You need to build your platform and build your following. And so I did. In addition to posting to LinkedIn that I wanted to help people in this coaching space, I have since begun in the last few weeks posting to TikTok under at coach.lebron, and that's at coach.lebron. I've been posting, daily or every other day tips and tricks on how to navigate the job transition, how to navigate sabbaticals, how to navigate unemployment, wherever you find yourself. Whether, if you're struggling to get out of bed, if you're struggling to focus, if you're struggling to put a structure together, I've just dropped videos on tips and tricks that I've done so organically over the last 2 years because I'm a very type A, disciplined, structured individual. And I thought, gosh, I need to share this with the world. And if I reach just one person, then that's one more that I can be helping. So please find me at coach.lebron. And hopefully I can help you again get where you're trying to go.
I love it. So you just never know. You might get a client just for coaching out of that. Thank you for being here. I love your story. I know we've talked before, but I just find you so filled with energy and positivity and joy. And I know that your books are going to be amazing whenever they make it to the world, and everybody is going to be thrilled to read them. So thank you for being here, and thank you for just sharing all of this with everybody.
Well, thank you, Sue. Thanks for having me. But thank you for also being an inspiration, too, in so many different facets. One, as a published author, but then also as an executive coach. You have certainly given me more strength to believe in myself and to realize that I can get there. And so thank you for coaching me and helping me and inspiring me. But I've really enjoyed our conversation today.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure. I believe everybody can leverage a coach. So I think wherever we can get more people out there helping each other, I think it's a blessing. So for sure. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining today on the Visibility Factor podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks so much for listening to the Visibility Factor podcast. Remember that visibility starts with small steps that are intentional and consistent each day. Be bold, be visible, be the leader you were meant to be. Find us and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, which are highlighted in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Visibility Factor podcast.